Hi there folks, wee temporary project today and tomorrow I think. The way that I put this shed together was, ad hoc and progressive. You set up one thing, you set up another, and there's not really a whole plan. So the first part of the lighting I had with these fairy lights around the edge, and it was only after that I got this big baton work light over the bench. I think I got the work light just before the bench. Certainly they were close together in time, which means that the far part of the shed, if the door isn't open, is a bit dark. I've noticed that there's a panel on the far side, the end of this batten, that looks like it'd come off to a flathead screwdriver. So I think these things are sort of symmetrical in construction, and I can wire another one in series. So I've got another one coming, slightly longer than this. This is, I don't know what size it is. So we check. It is, it's 115 centimetres. It was sold as 120, so the one I've got coming is sold as 150, so maybe it'll be 145. Basically going to hook it up along there and wire them together. And instead of putting the switch here, as it is just now, I'm going to move the switch over to the door. So I can just open the door, reach in, turn on the switch, and I've got full heavy duty lighting, which should be good. That requires a couple of things. Firstly, I need to rerun some electrics, of course, which I can do before the light arrives. And the other thing is that because there's just framing in this shed, I've not obviously drilled anything through the either the shiplap for the walls or the roof itself. I need to work with the internal framing, like studs and all. I had to put up a batten, a wooden batten, to mount the light on, and I'm going to need to extend those battens all the way down. I've got the lumber for that in my lumber rack, so extending the battens across the ceiling and rerunning the electrics is stuff that I can do today before the actual light itself arrives tomorrow. And then when it does, hopefully it's just a matter of jiggling a few cables about and putting a couple of brackets up, clipping on the new light, and we should be away. So that's what I'm going to work on today, because God forbid I'd actually work on an important project that's sitting waiting to be finalised. Let's get started. I've had a wee look at the measurements and at what I've got in the lumber rack, and I don't think it needs to go past about 180 centimetres from the very edge of where this batten is mounted. So I think what I'm going to do, instead of using unused lumber from the rack, when I made the slide out keyboard, as in musical keyboard tray for my desk in my office, I made it twice. Firstly, I made it like this with metal supports from wood, and just to keep the weight down. And it was fine, but I just wasn't sure that it was entirely supported enough in the middle in terms of sagging. I think it was fine, but I made it a second time from a full piece of furniture board instead of bothering with these metal reinforcers. These two pieces are 90 centimetres, so I can just put them back to back, I think, and that should span the gap, no bother at all. Might put a wee joining plate over the top where they'll meet, which will sit up into the framing beneath the insulation. So I think I'll just take this apart. This has just been sitting looking for a home basically, so I'll get the impact driver, whap out these screws, join these boards end to end with a wee joiner plate, which I must have under here somewhere. I always have stuff like that lying about. Is this joining plate? It is, my god, it actually is. So I've got some simple wee plates that should do the job no bother at all. And then obviously start the measurements to get the baton mounted. That should be a bit of fun. I think I'll do that before I rerun the electrics, because the electrics are going to be a faff with cable routing and ties and all that kind of thing. Leave that till later, crack on, get some coffee, get this happening. Let me just explain exactly what I meant by all of that. Bench is there, got the work lamp up here, and up above it, this is the wooden baton that I've mounted that runs all the way along. I'm going to have another one of these instead of this running to the switch and being plugged in. That will come out and I'll join it in series to the opposite end of another one of these slightly longer. That will run all the way down there, and to do that obviously I need to extend this baton all the way along, I think to just past the dust extractor right to here. And I'm going to use these two pieces instead of side by side, end to end, with a wee joining plate just to reinforce them, and they'll be attached there, there, there. That's double wide of course, and then there as well, hopefully in line with that one. And then when the light arrives tomorrow, it'll be pretty easy, I would hope, to just put the two clamps on, screwed in, and clip it on. Hopefully that should work. Right, some wee simple obvious tips, not new to many people who do any woodworking, but maybe they'll be new to you and might help you. Obviously I'm going to be putting holes through these to mount them up on the ceiling, and makes sense to put holes in the centre line. How do you find the centre line? Well, you can measure straight across, of course. Quite often that'll be a funny number to then split in half and, you know, try and mark it in the middle. Don't bother doing that. One super easy way is, I think this is 68 mils across, so that's actually easy to cut in half. But say it wasn't, as long as you've got that corner right at the zero, you can just rotate this until a nice easily splittable number is bang on the other side. Say 8 in that case. 8 by 2 is 4. You make a mark at 4, that's still going to be halfway across the board. Equally, if you tilt it so that it's 0 and 10, then 5 is going to be halfway across the board, and you can make your wee mark there much easier. When you're running a line along, what I guess a beginner would do is maybe make a mark at one end, make a mark at the other end, get something long like another piece of wood, match them up and run a line along. I mean, that's a road to madness. What you want to do is use a square or equivalent tool. Squares will often have these wee bumps, and the bumps correspond to usually whole and half, in this case centimetres. If your measurement happens to be one of them from the edge, then you can just sort of put that against the edge like that, and then put your pencil into the appropriate bump and just sort of hold the pencil and hold this, run it straight along, not like that, run it nice and level. It's one of the things that lip is for. It's super easy with this gadget, which is called a combination square. It's a square with a 90-degree angle. It's got a 45-degree angle to use as well. This is a ruler, of course, and this wee screw loosens so that you can slide it back and forth. And what that's super useful for is taking a measurement against this edge. So what did I say about 68, so it would be 34 mil in. All you do is, you don't even need to have it on the piece of wood, roll it to 34, say it's there, lock it down with the screw, and then you can set this against the edge, and you just put your pencil right on the top of it and just hold the whole thing, drag it along, and you've got a perfect centre line the whole way. You just need to keep it against and down, which is why it's good to put your finger right there, hold it like that. Indeed, it's one of the reasons there's this big notch in, so you can hold it like this, down, pencil on the top, scribe it straight along the whole way, and you've got a perfect centre line that won't waver, ready for you to make your marks, drill your holes, whatever it is. Fantastic. Just another wee tip before I forget, marking stuff. Pencil can be good. This is a tracer, you can extend this like a mechanical pencil all the way up so you can poke it through. Comes with a bunch of extra leads and this wee holder which has, if you can see, a pencil sharpener in it there as well, which is great, but you're only going to get so thin and accurate a line with a pencil, and of course the more you use it the blunter it gets, you have to sharpen it again. So it can be good to use like a knife instead. This is a marking knife, you can see it's got this lovely shape on that side, it's nice and flat on that side, so and make a wee line on the wood. That's got two benefits. One, it's super thin and accurate, it's always going to be bang on, and it also creates the tiniest wee groove, so if you're going to be hand sawing or even using a power saw, you can sort of set it into that to get it started, which is good. You might forget to bring something to do your marking, but once you get used to using one of these, you're probably not going to forget to bring this with you, and this has actually got you covered for a bit of emergency marking. You see, this is obviously the loosen and tighten screw for rolling the ruler back and forth, and there's a spirit level there. There's also this wee thumb screw here, and this doesn't actually adjust the mechanism. Hi pal, that's my son coming.
Hi mister.
Hi pal. That's actually a wee pin that comes out, and you can use that to scrape a line along a piece of wood.
Scraping, that is a bad thing to say.
No, it's for the wood. Do you want to come and look up at the camera and say hello?
I can't look.
You can't look, huh?
No,
Do you want me to pick you up?
Eh.
Whooshed. Hello.
Hello.
You want to look up at the camera, buddy?
I am.
Right, I mean this one up here.
I am.
You're going to help Daddy to put up these light batons?
Yeah.
Maybe. That'd be fabulous.
Whoa, this is so sharp.
It's not sharp, that's the impact driver, buddy.
It's better not sharp.
Got to press that button and make a noise. No, not that one. This trigger. Hooray!
Well, I
think we'll just cut there. My son's going off to get his hammer from his wee sort of play toolkit for some reason. I said that the impact driver was a lot faster than taking screws out by hand. I think he heard it by hammer, so it's probably a wee hammer coming. But, you know, parenting, you learn to work around having the child helping you as often as they can possibly manage. Anyway, love this thing. That's another thing, if you're getting started with woodworking, you'll no doubt have a drill. Technically this is a driver and the bit in it's a drill, but the thing that you call a drill, what you also want is to get an impact driver, which is a power screwdrivery thing. Really, my life is separated into time before and after getting this tool. It's fabulous.
Look what I've got.
What have you got, big man?
I've got the same thing of you.
Oh, you got your toolkit. I was just saying to the people on the camera that you were bringing your toolkit with your own properly sized safety spectacles. That's fantastic. You going to help me then?
Yeah.
Nice one. Oh, you're using your spanner on that, yeah?
I've got a piece of wood.
Oh, a piece of wood. That's the one we gave you for your screwdriver, isn't it? That is your screwdriver.
But it's not doing very.
Well, you might need to use the actual metal screwdriver rather than this very beautiful wooden one to take that screw out. Don't you have a wee, what is it, a crosshead? Let me give you one. Here you go. You can use that. It's maybe better to turn it round in your hand so it's pointing up from your fist.
Oh.
That's it. And you're left-handed, so you might want to swap hands, buddy.
Oh. Not doing very well. Okay.
It can be tricky to line up, yeah. Do you want to maybe put it on this wee stool?
Me too.
Then you can put it on it as a wee sort of table. I'll do it right there. Is that okay for you, my man?
I think I'm done.
Voila. Now to join them together. You got a what?
I've got a cutter out, Daddy.
A cutter. Oh, you're so nice. Nice. Nice job, Chief.
Wow. I want to saw it.
How do you know?
So it can be nice and flat. I want to saw the table.
Well, please don't. Daddy loves that table. Daddy's
I'm
table.
touching this.
Right. With a wee bit of help or hindrance or whatever from my son, we've now got a big long board, joined front and back, opposing angles of course, which we'll do as a batten for the big light. It's of a different width than the one I've got, so I'll need to obviously subtract in half to get the offset because I want them to run centre line all the way down, but that's a relatively minor challenge in the scale of things. And I'm going to take a lunch break and then get on with measuring, marking and attaching this thing to the ceiling. I've now got 8 of these, 7 that were in use and 1 that wasn't. These lovely joining plates, so they will be pressed into service at some stage in the future for who knows what, but for now I'm going to store them, which means I have recourse to the critically important wee bag of other Ziploc bags and twisty ties and elastic bands to get something to bind them all together. I do love twisty ties and, you know, cable routing and organising and stuff and all that. It's fabulous for pissing away the time you should be spending on the actual project. That's a good tip, actually. Hardware by its nature tends to have holes drilled in it. Certainly joining plates do, we've got loads all along, which means that you can readily store them by lining them up and feeding a wee twisty tie through like that, and then you just tie it up, and that's never going anywhere. They will stay together. You don't have to find a wee box or have them rattling around loose in a drawer or whatever. It's not the most sophisticated tip in the world, but it is a tip, so you're welcome. So I've just measured the distance between the existing batten and the vertical framing of the shed. There's just about a 10mm difference in width between the two, so I'll need to offset by 5mm so that they run sort of centres like that all the way down. It was 339mm, which means too long for this, so I had to bring out the big guy, and what I've done is I've just dialed in 339 and locked it there. You can check. I get another rule, putting it behind against the face, and that should be 339 minus 5334, and indeed it's exactly that. So now what I can do is just go along to the piece of framing, set this up against it, and then I know that here is where my batten will be. Now I could make a pencil mark or something and try and like fit the board in, but again, you don't want to measure anything unless you absolutely have to. So all I'll do is I'll put this up against the vertical, come out to here, and what I'll do is I'll get a clamp and clamp it onto the framing that's coming over the roof right there, and then I'll know when I want to set the board up. I just sit it right against the clamp that will already be holding up the roof, and it'll be perfectly lined up. No measuring, no marking, no uncertainty. That's how you want to do it, always, if you possibly can. Just to show you what I mean, this is over at the other end. I want the batten to be lined up with that, albeit with the offset. So I come over here, I've got the right measurement dialed into the combination square. I've got it lined up level with this edge, and all I do is clamp right over this and then just slide the combo square out in that direction, just like that. And I can bring this out, put that away, and I know that when I attach the beam over there, all I need to do is just bring it right into there, and I know without having measured out from there or marked anything that this is exactly the right place for it to be. I was just getting shown a bee, which is a hugely important thing to take me away from my work temporarily. Back we go. Hello dog. Oh, right, let's get this thing fitted. So that the batten stretches far enough this way to get a good fix onto this piece of the roof framing, I need to put a bit of space between the two battens. So glaze it and packer, 6mm, masking taped onto the end. Now I can butt it up there and screw it through, hands free. Okay, that was tricky with one person, but my wife was looking after my son, so needs must, but we're there. Got the batten up, offset, so centre line matches previous one where the light is installed, even though this is wider. Got it secured here, 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 and of course here, flush with the edge of this. So we've got it. When that new light, same thing but longer, arrives tomorrow, I can mount it up here and then run the electrics along there down in behind all the clamps and put a nice single switch here that'll turn the whole blooming thing on. Hooray. And my son's running about with my wife and the dog like mad. Hi dog. Hi Wetsky. So, now remains just to tidy up some of the tools and then get to rerunning some cabling. Pretty good job. Well, that's a decent wee bit of progress today. We're ready for the light to arrive tomorrow. I'll get it all hooked up and wired and ready, and then other parts of the shed will be every bit as well illuminated and fully usable as this one. Until then, oh, we got a wee guest message. You want to say something?
Please subscribe to my daddy's channel.
Please subscribe to my daddy's channel. Quite right, that's fabulous, son. Well done. Thank you, Callum, for helping me out in the work shed today, in the Tiniest Workshed. I'm very happy to have you here with me. Daddy's super proud. And we hope that everyone will come back and watch the next video. Will you say bye-bye?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.